Welcome back to the series. In this episode, we are going to see how to extract query parameters in RESTful APIs. Since we are building this Node.js REST API with Express.js framework, we are going to see how to extract query strings or query parameters from URLs in Express.js framework. So, for those who don't know what are query parameters or query strings, this is how it looks. So if you notice the first URL after /todo/task, we have a question mark and you have an ID equal to some number. So if you look at the second URL, we are passing two query parameters, page and limit. So we can pass as many as you want. So once you extract these parameters, these becomes variables. For example, page and limit becomes variables in the second, and ID become a variable in the first one. So in this episode, we are going to see how to extract this information from the URL in Express.js and also without Express.js framework. We are going to see both. Okay, here is our existing application, and we don't have any route which takes query strings yet. So for that, we are going to change one of the route to take the query parameters. So I'm going to change the delete URL. So we have a delete URL which takes the route parameter as of now. So we are going to change from route parameter to query string. So for that, what we need to do is we just need to change the URL and add the question mark and also ID in the query string. So let's add the question mark and ID and variable name. As soon as you do that, Postman actually added that ID in the query params, under query params, if you notice that. Now the delete has query string or query parameter, and let's go ahead and hit the get URL and take the ID and pass this ID as a query string here. So since the delete URL is changed to query parameter, so we just need to change something in the route handler as well. So we just need to delete the colon ID, and also in Express.js you can read it. You can read the query parameter or query string through request.query.id. Please remember the variable name should be same. So since the URL contains ID as a query string, we will be able to read it through query object. Let's test this out. Yep, delete call is working, and now sometimes right now it actually works, but sometimes you have to use a middleware. So as you can see, I have added middleware body parser.url encoded as well. So in that way, it will be, if you get an error, some Express.js versions will not support, will not parse these URLs directly. You just need to add that middleware as well. Okay, let us understand how to extract this information without Express.js framework. There are two libraries I just wanted to show you. We are not using these libraries, URL and query string, which can be used to parse information in the URL. So we're not going to use those anyway. We're going to use URL. So you don't have to import anything. So it's a Node.js provides that URL. So we don't have to import anything for this. So all you need to do is you just need to pass the complete URL to this URL constructor. So in Node.js, in the request object, you have all the URL information. So all you need to do is accessing that information and construct the URL yourself. So let's construct the URL in such a way that you are giving the whole URL. So request.protocol will give you whether it is HTTP or HTTPS, and you just need to add colon / / and request.hostname will give you whether it is a local host or any other domain, and immediately you just need to add request.url. That request.url contains all the path after the domain. So let's console log parsed URL and let's see what this contains. So now I'm going to hit this delete URL. As you can see, this parsed URL is an object. So this object contains href, host, protocol, host name, and also search params. So what we need here is search params. So those search params contains all the query parameters as a map. So let's console log this as well. I think I forgot adding parsed URL. Let's add parsed URL dot search params. Yes. So now if you see the console log output, you are actually seeing query strings as a map. So you just need to access the map, whatever the variable that you need. For example, if the request URL contains multiple query strings, all you need to do is access through .get, and you need to pass whatever the variable that you want to access. So let's test this thing out. Now you are seeing the ID. So let's get the object and let's test the whole delete call. Let's copy this ID and go to the delete URL and paste it here. Send it. Now the delete call is working fine. So that is how you access URL information or query parameters information without Express.js framework. So since we are using Express.js here, we're not going to need all this extra processing. So you can just directly access those query strings on query object. So let's delete all these. So let's delete all these and put the request.query.id. So let's remove the line. Thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe.